about this?
These two people.
I am geeking out
to the Geeks Unleashed podcast.
Mark!
Jasmin!
What a nerd.
Nerd alert!
Unleashed television.
What are you talking about?
Anything can be a podcast. Video game.
What is a geek?
Oh, hi, Mark. The whole point is, of course, the plot is...
You guys have great conversation.
I am geeking out.
Unleashed! Movies! People love movies!
All right, you guys, podcast time.
You're listening to the Geeks Unleashed podcast. Part of the These Family Badass, we take our passions and our fandoms and we turn them into conversations with you.
Get over here. Hello, welcome to Geeks Unleashed. It's episode 149. I'm Mark.
I'm Jasmin.
Or Sub-Zero. Oh no, Scorpion that was. That's Scorpion. Each week on the Geeks Unleashed podcast, we catch up on our pop culture lives and we bring you a review of something adapted from the comic book or gaming world.
And before we get started, if you're watching on YouTube, thank you so much. We appreciate that. We would love it if you would like this video and subscribe to our channel. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast platform, we appreciate that as well. We'd also love it if you would leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Podchaser.
Sorry, did I throw you off?
Yes. Yes, you did. Thank you.
All right, on this week's Geek of the Week, I'll let Jasmin go first this week. Well, you went first last week as well, but I'll let you go first again.
Me first?
Yeah, you go first.
Okay, mine's easy. So I signed up for like a 99 cents 3-month Kindle Unlimited subscription. And for a while I hadn't been like really reading it. And then I think it was like Sunday. I was like, you know what? I don't know. I don't have any new physical books to read. Like, let me see what I can find on Kindle Unlimited. In a week, I've already read 2 books.
I thought you told me you don't have any time.
Huh?
I thought this was a girl who doesn't have any time.
I know, but it's also been like I have not been going to sleep until like 2 o'clock in the morning because like I'm still reading on my couch. It's been really bad. Like I've been late to work twice this week. Anyway, so I've just like been enjoying the Kindle Unlimited subscription this past week. Like I said, I read 2 books, but I'm in the middle of this series of 7 books that are like connected but not connected. There's like a shared universe, but they're like novellas, so they're not as long as a real novel. But it's like that super quick digestible stuff. But yeah, so and then I found like a whole bunch of manga that's available on Kindle Unlimited. So like my wish list on my Kindle is now absurd. So I feel like I'm definitely going to be spending a lot more time on this Kindle for a little bit. So next week it's probably my Geek of the Week is probably going to be something specific from Kindle Unlimited.
Yeah, so I've never done Kindle Unlimited, but I do have a Kindle. I didn't realize you had a Kindle.
I don't. I have the desktop app on my computer, so I read on my computer, but I also have the Kindle app on my phone. So
I have a Kindle.
Nice.
It's not
I was gonna get myself one for Christmas, and then I was like, oh, I don't really think I read that much, but I'm definitely going to get myself because I think I'm gonna keep the subscription like after my 99 cents is up.
I bought this like 10 years ago, 8 years ago, something like this. Yeah. I've only used it a handful of times, but I do quite like it. Yeah, I do like the fact that this is so thin.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna be traveling some this year, so it would be nice to have, because usually I like take a book when I travel, but it would be nice to have more than 1 book. So I would rather have a Kindle.
That's why I got this.
That's why I got
this, because I would like go on holiday and chuck like 2 books in my bag or something, and the suitcase is already full, and I'm like, oh. Then the annoying thing is if you actually go through the books, you're like, oh, that's it now, I'm done.
Right, now I got to take it back with me.
The only thing I don't like, it's quite an old Kindle now. The only thing I don't like about this is there's no backlight. And I would like to
the new ones have that, I think.
Yeah, I would like to get one with a backlight.
Yeah. So, you have to wait until they do Prime Day when Amazon puts all their own shit on sale. Because they had it on sale for like Black Friday. But so I'm gonna wait probably and get a Kindle in July when they do the next Prime Day, because then it'll be like $60 instead of $100.
Yeah, I'd like to. I don't know when I'd ever use it, but no, I think a Kindle is quite nice. I've read a few books on it. I think it's nice to sort of stick in your pocket. And the other thing is with the Kindle, if you do forget it and you've got your smartphone, the Kindle app is quite cool, like to flick between the two. And the other thing which is cool, I used to for a while have an Audible subscription. If you had the ebook and the audiobook, and say you're driving, like they've got something, I can't remember what it's called.
Syncs.
Yeah, like some sync thing. So
That's
say
cool.
if you like, say if you listen to like the whole of chapter 2 in the car, and then you get home and you pick up your Kindle, it should be then on chapter 3. Like if you finish chapter 2, I mean.
Yeah.
So that's a cool thing.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So, for a period of time, I had an Audible subscription. I've got way more audiobooks than I've actually listened to. So, but yeah, anyway, I was jumping on your Geek of the Week there. So
I don't like audiobooks. I have tried them. I like podcasts, which is very odd to me. Like I'll listen to podcasts all the time, but I don't enjoy the audiobook experience. Don't know why.
So, I think now I've listened to quite a few audiobooks. I love the there's an audiobook I listened to years ago, and it's the first of a trilogy, which was really annoying because they didn't put the other two on Audible, and the first one was called, I want to say it was like called I can't remember the name of it now. It's called like Eden or Children of Eden or something. I can't remember. It was one of these post-apocalyptic young adult ones. It's quite a while ago now. And then there was 2 more that they made. For some reason, they put the Audible on some other platform rather than Amazon's Audible.
Oh, that's annoying.
And I was like, I didn't want to go and read the books then because I actually loved the actress who did the voice.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway, I jumped to yours, but no, I can understand loving it because I actually do think the Kindle's quite a cool gadget. And
yeah, I mean, because I keep my like after a certain time, my phone switches to black and white mode, and so like when I'm reading, like I don't even notice the time change because nothing on the screen changes when it goes to black and white. So yeah, it's been I've trying. Like last night, I got in bed at like 11 p.m. and I was like, I'm only gonna read 1 chapter. I read 3 chapters and then it was like 12:40 and I was like, I should really get to bed because I have to get up and go to work in the morning.
Do you know, I think I would use it more if I was a commuter, like a commuter on a train. So
yeah,
that's probably where I'd use it more if I had one.
If only we had good public transportation here.
In New York, they do. Maybe we should relocate.
Yeah, well, I would definitely need like 5 times the salary that I have now in order to move to New York.
Anyway, I will tell you about my Geek of the Week. So I did debate it, which one to go with, and Jasmin steered me towards the one I was probably more pumped for rather than one that I was more weirded out by. I watched the first season of Cruel Summer, which came out, what was it, 2021? I watched it all within like 2 days.
That long ago?
2 days? Yeah. Do you know what? I realised I watched the first 10 minutes of the episode when it came out, and then I got distracted, put it down, whatever. And I was really intrigued by, not just the characters, obviously, but the style of what they did. So they showed, in the first episode, they showed the same girl getting up in the morning in the first 5 minutes, but the show is set, so just to set the scene here, the entire of season 1, which is an anthology, by the way, so season 2 is a completely different cast, different characters. So the whole of season 1 is set across 3 different years in the 90s. I can't remember what the years were, but it was like 93, 94, 95, something like that. And what I loved in the beginning, the first 5 minutes, you see the same girl, which is a character, Jeanette, played by actually someone's name I can't pronounce. You see her wake up in like 93, then 94, then 95. The 93, her mum and dad come in, her brother with a cake, a candle, and oh, happy birthday, blah, blah, blah. And she's got braces on, and she's like a bit of a geek, and it's all like really happy family. It's nice, and then suddenly it jumps to the next year, and you see that she's looking a bit cooler. She's waking up. She's got no braces on. Then this like sort of handsome guy wakes her up, sitting on under her bed, going on. And he's like, had to wrestle your dad to come upstairs, you know, break your family tradition. It's all quite nice, whatever. And he's like, I'll see you tonight. Whatever, walks off. And then the third year, the style of the cinematography and everything, and it's all like sort of grayed out a little bit, and it's color, but it's a much darker tone. She wakes up, she's got like suddenly where she had all long hair, she's all got her hair cut short. It's like not even like a bob. It's more like prison style, and she's all gothy and wakes up in bed, and then her dad walks in. I don't know, like in his dressing gown, all unkept, and he goes, Jeanette, your lawyer's here. And she's like, which one? And he's like, blah, 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 whatever. And you're like, what has happened between the girl woke up with braces to your lawyer's here? And it was and obviously throughout season 1, you find out the tale of what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And there's two characters, two main characters. You've got Jeanette, and the other character is called Kate, who's played by Olivia Holt, who I don't know if you remember from Cloak and Dagger, and I know she was in a load of other Disney stuff that I've never seen her in. And they're kind of the rivals of the whole show, and it's all built around Olivia's character Kate goes missing. And then it turns out that she was kidnapped by somebody in the show. And it happens over those periods. So in the first year, you see her around. However, in the second year, you see that she's back. And it's between year 1 and 2 that she gets taken. And then in year 3, they're dealing with a court case. So Olivia's character claims that Jeanette knew who kidnapped her and knew that she was kidnapped, but kept quiet about it. And then so Jeanette sues Kate's character for defamation and sort of future loss of earnings and all this kind of stuff, because she's like, now I'm unemployable, no, for future no one's going to go near me because you're telling everyone I'm the girl that knew that you were kidnapped by a paedophile, and I kept shut about it. And there's so many twists and turns throughout the whole thing. And then you kind of, at the end, it does get wrapped up. And one of the things that I really loved, I loved all of it. Like, I loved the style, I loved the time jumps, I loved the fact that, each episode was set on the same day, but on a different year, and it would show you what happened on that day across the 3 years. And at the end, it's all wrapped up and, a pretty bow. And then the final moment, it suddenly jumps back. Like, so say it was like 1995. The final moment, it jumps back to like 1993. And then it reveals like a twist. And it ends. And I was like, no. I was like, such a good twist. And there was something that none of us like knew. And I was like, that was cool. I thought that was cool. Yeah, so I thought it was a really good show. Like I say, it's anthology. Season 2, again, it's a mystery. I've not watched season 2. It's in a different part of the country, different characters. Maybe I'll watch it, I don't know. But I did honestly love the mystery and the twists and turns, as well as the characters and stuff like that. But yeah, so I know you're probably unlikely to ever watch it, but any thoughts on what I said?
That does not sound like it's for me.
But yeah, like, I know you like twists and turns, so
I mean, I do, but yeah, we were chit-chatting before we started recording.
Oh yeah, TV wise.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not into long form TV at the moment.
Oh, it's 12. I think it was 12. It was either 10 or 12. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying. Like, I have been watching 4 different K-drama series on Netflix, but it's like the
10
K-dramas
of
are like an hour and 15 minutes long every episode, and it's just like it's taking me forever. Like it takes me so long to get through a season.
Mhm.
So
No, I'll be honest. My TV viewing habits have severely changed, and it takes me a lot to want to watch a TV show. But when it hooks me in, I'll tell you what. Anything with a mystery, like a good mystery, not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a crappy mystery. Like if it's, but I love the fact that there was this huge change between like 93 and 95, and
Yeah.
then obviously in the middle you get to see the ramifications in the middle, and I was like, what is going on? Like, honestly. And the whole mystery setup of did you know, did you not know, and even the kidnapping itself had mystery around it. And so I think it was episode 9. That whole episode is just around the kidnapping and what happened, and they spend the whole episode just dedicated to that. Yeah, it was good. So I mean, obviously not good to be kidnapped or whatever, but it was the mystery element was really intriguing, and it had me addicted. So
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about Geek of the Week. Geek of the Week. We will now move into our main event, which Jasmin is dying to. Who would have thought, Jasmin, that we'd cover this on Geeks Unleashed?
Well, I mean, I am just going to be real upfront here, Mark. Excuse me. If I am not satisfied with your review of Mortal Kombat, I am going to be looking for a new co-host. I'm just saying.
Okay, so Mortal Kombat 1995, directed by Paul W.S. Anderson. Why did they do that? Just Paul Anderson. You know. Screenplay and story by Kevin Droning. Anyway, it's based on Mortal Kombat, the video game by Midway.
And it stars Lyndon Ashby as Johnny Cage, Cary Hiroyuki Tagawa as Shang Tsung, Robin Shu as Liu Kang, Brigitte Wilson Sampras as Sonya Blade, Talisa Soto as Katana, Christopher Lambert as Lord Raiden, Chris Casamassa as Scorpion, Francois Petit as Sub-Zero, and Keith Cook as Reptile. Also, Mortal Kombat. First time we got this game from Midway, 1992. It was an arcade game, just like our show or our film last week, Street Fighter. But Mortal Kombat came out 5 years after Street Fighter. I think Street Fighter started in 87. So Street Fighter got a bit of a jump, but Mortal Kombat was right on its heels. So 1992 was the first arcade game for Mortal Kombat.
The release date was 18th of August 1995. Running time 101 minutes with a budget of 20 million and a box office return of 122.2 million US dollars. So
it did a lot better than Street Fighter.
Oh yeah. I mean, so it's a year followed on from Street Fighter, and they made a lot more money. Hence why they got a sequel. But how did that sequel? I already looked that up. Actually, that sequel didn't do that as well. So in regards to, before you move on, actually, I texted Jasmin when I was watching this, going, I can't believe. Well, I didn't name him, but Lyndon Ashby, like the guy who plays Stars' dad from Teen Wolf was Johnny Cage. I was like, no, I didn't.
See, you're just so behind the times, because now anytime I see Lyndon Ashby in anything else, my first thought is, oh my God, it's Johnny Cage.
I was like, it's Stars' dad. Obviously, I knew other people in this film. Obviously, Christopher Lambert specifically. However, there were faces I recognised, but I was like, the Teen Wolf dad is in this. So, I know. By the way, I know Teen Wolf is terrible. I've never ever claimed it's a good show. I know it's an awful.
I like to tease you for your taste in CW style television, Mark.
Oh yeah, you texted about going CW. I was like MTV actually, and you were like the same thing.
I stand by that.
They don't make that kind of television anymore.
Yeah, they don't really make much of anything anymore, unfortunately.
Well, it's weird. It's weird to think that MTV was a music channel, and now they make shows about pregnant and 16 or something or other.
I know all that reality stuff.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, you got something to tell me.
My favorite part of every episode: fun facts. First of all, we had so much drama with Street Fighter on set And I looked and looked and looked. And this Mortal Kombat film was essentially drama-free. And there were very few injuries for as much action sequences as they had in the film. So first fun fact, which to this day, like this theme song is still my ringtone. Like this film, like almost 30 years later, like this is still the ringtone on my phone. The producers, when they were getting ready to do the soundtrack, the producers shopped their idea to so many labels, and the two biggest ones that turned them down were Sony and Virgin, because Sony and Virgin were like, we're not going to do a soundtrack for this film unless we can get some popular artists on it. Like they had people like Janet Jackson in mind because it was like the mid 90s and Janet was still real big back then. And the producers were like, no, this is electronica. Like we're not doing pop stars. And so finally they found this teeny tiny label. They did it their way. They got to do their whole EDM soundtrack. And this soundtrack was the first ever EDM album to go platinum. So the Mortal Kombat soundtrack from 1995 was the first EDM album that ever made it platinum. Plenty have done it since, but this was the very first one to do it. I thought that was super interesting because the music to me, it like takes me back. And again, not even kidding, literally my ringtone right now. Fun fact number 2. So this film came out in August, as Mark said, but it originally had a May release date. However, when they tested this film for audiences, they liked it. They liked it just fine. But the complaint from all of the audience, like all the test audiences, was there aren't enough fight sequences, which I guess makes sense. It's a fighting game. Like there just aren't enough fights in the movie. And so they went back and they did extensive reshoots. And Robin Shou, who plays Liu Kang, was the stunt choreographer for all of the reshoots. At the time, he was really big in like Hong Kong cinema, and he had been doing stunt choreography and stunt coordination in Hong Kong films. And so he did all of the choreography, all the stunt work, all of these things. 2 fights so they extended the fight between Johnny Cage and Scorpion. They did that during reshoots. Also during that fight, Chris, I'm sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's terrible. Chris Casamassa kicked Lyndon Ashby so hard, even though Lyndon Ashby was wearing padding, kicked him so hard that it bruised his kidney and he was peeing blood for several days. So that was one of the major injuries that they had on set. But the fight that they added, a completely new fight that they added to this film, was the fight between Liu Kang and Reptile near the end of the film. That was not in the original script. They added that during the reshoots when the test audiences complained about not enough fighting. And another super interesting thing, I did not know this. So Robin Shou, when he was doing all of the stunt choreography and all of those things, he did a lot of, hey now, watch it. I'm in the middle of fun facts, sir.
Sorry. I should have hit me if I wasn't quick enough.
So he had been doing this a lot in the Hong Kong cinema stuff that he was doing. It was wire work. And everybody at the time was like, this seems really excessive, yada, yada, yada. But the same type of wire work that he was doing in Mortal Kombat, guess what movie made wire work famous? The Matrix.
I don't know. I was just literally about to say The Matrix.
Who did it first? Mortal Kombat did it first. So a lot of the stuff that they picked up from behind the scenes and all of the stunt work, the people from The Matrix picked it up from Mortal Kombat. I thought that was really fascinating. All right, my favorite part, casting. Okay, any guesses as to who else might have played some of these characters? Let's start with Sonya Blade.
I did see your notes, unfortunately, for this one. I already know it's Cameron Diaz.
Yes, which I didn't know. Like, she had already been cast, and she was already doing pre-work or prep work for the film, for production. She broke her wrist during the pre-work for the film. And so Bridget had already auditioned. She auditioned several times for the role of Sonya Blade, but because the audition process was taking so long, she was like, screw you guys, I'm going to go do Billy Madison. So she went and she did Billy Madison. But because Cameron Diaz got injured, by the time Billy Madison was done filming, the producers for Mortal Kombat were like, hey, Bridget, why don't you just come back and go ahead and you can be Sonya. And so that's how Bridget was wound up in the role of Sonya. Also, another injury on set. She refused to let them use a stunt double for her. So she did all of her own stunts, which is kind of apparent because she's not very good. Anyway, she did all of her own stunts. And at one point she dislocated her shoulder. And like, I thought this was kind of like ghetto. They just put her shoulder back into place on set, gave her like a break, and then they got back to work. And I was just like, is that does not seem normal. Like, shouldn't she have seen like a doctor or something? No. She dislocated her shoulder. They put it back. They kept filming. So the actor who plays Scorpion, Chris Casamassa, he originally auditioned to just be one of those like face covered goons that are 1.5 million of them as extras in this movie. He was so good during his audition to be a no name, no credit person that they were like, nah, bro, we need to put you somewhere else. So because he was so good, they gave him the role of Scorpion. Francois Petit, who plays Sub-Zero. Now, I thought this was really cool too. So Francois Petit, he had been involved in the production of Mortal Kombat for a long time. Like, he's also like the highest ranking martial artist on the entire set. So he was like grandmaster above everyone else. And they kept trying to cast someone to be Sub-Zero, but they couldn't find anyone that fit the bill. So the closer they got to filming, like the start of filming, and they still hadn't cast the role, they asked Francois to step in and to play Sub-Zero. So technically, Sub-Zero is the best fighter in the film, like best actor fighter in the film, which because that was a huge debate with me and my friends. Like, when we first saw this film, we would argue for hours over who was better, Scorpion or Sub-Zero. But apparently the true answer is Sub-Zero. Like, he just had far better martial arts skills. Okay, and so last week in the fun facts, we'd mentioned that Jean-Claude Van Damme had been approached to play Johnny Cage in this movie, but he turned it down because he took the role of Guile in Street Fighter. Well, there is an unconfirmed rumor that the game developers at Midway actually based Johnny Cage off of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, when they were creating the character for the game, Jean-Claude Van Damme was their ideal version of Johnny Cage. And it was like, that never occurred to me. But when I read it, I was like, I can see it. I can definitely see how Johnny Cage is based off of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, I get it. I can see the resemblance there. And at the time, Christopher Lambert was the highest paid cast member in this film. But because his salary was so high, they only had him for a couple of weeks. So they filmed all of his close-ups as fast as they could. And then any other time you see Raiden and he's got like the wig and the hat on, it's a body double. It's not actually Christopher Lambert, because they only had him for a limited amount of time. And they filmed a lot of it in Thailand, same way like they filmed Street Fighter. That's all I got for fun facts, but it made me really happy to see that there was not as much drama on set. Like, people didn't hate each other. Everybody got along just fine. Nobody was an asshole.
There's no cocaine problems this time around. I always find that funny, you just said about filming all the Christopher Lambert's parts first. I always find that funny with any kind of movie, television, where, say, the ending could have been filmed before they'd even done the middle of the film. And I always just find that so weird, like, from an actor and actress's point of view, to go and film the end before they've even done any of the stuff that got them there. Right. So you sort of, at the end, they're a bit of a team and all jump into their sort of Power Rangers mode. Yeah. When that weird creature thing's coming out of the mountain. And so to think that Christopher Lambert filmed that, and then they had to then go back and do all those fight sequences and stuff like that. Yeah, no, it's just crazy to me, the world of editing and filming, that they can go ahead and film things out of order, but then somebody's got to sit in an editing room and then piece it together. Yep.
But I mean, it's all about how they can save the most money and the most time. So yeah, Oh, there was one thing I forgot to mention. So Goro, totally animatronic, complete. There was no guy in a suit. There was none of that. It was not CGI. They actually built a machine to play Goro. It had to have anywhere between 13 to 16 operators at all times. But the thing was so clunky that they had to redesign the set because Goro's like original fight set was set around water, like it was in a lake or something like that. And they were so scared that the animatronic would fall into the water and short circuit that they were like, nope, we got to redesign the whole set. Like, so they redesigned the Goro set where he fights so that there was no water, so that if the animatronic fell over, it didn't just like explode.
Well, yeah. Oh, okay, that's cool actually. I didn't realize that. I was confused. I thought it was like really bad CGI. So.
No, it was not. It was animatronic.
Okay, so before we jump into any of our thoughts or feelings on this movie, we shout out the IMDb summary, which sometimes is great, sometimes not so great, sometimes very vague. So this one, 3 unknowing martial artists are summoned to a mysterious island to compete in a tournament whose outcome will decide the fate of the world. I mean, that is
bad, but it's vague.
I mean, that is all true. So,
yes.
It could have
film. They do.
It could have gone on. It could have been a little bit cleverer at the summary. It could have said something around Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they could have said something like that. So, now there's a game I believe that this is based off of, and I believe there's something like 12 of them. I don't know. How many games of them are there?
It's a bunch. The most recent game actually came out, same as Street Fighter, September of 2023. So very recent. Mortal Kombat. Mortal Kombat is still very huge. It has tournaments and crossover. Like Mortal Kombat is still a very big deal, as evidenced by the movie that we got a couple of years ago as well. Like it's still a very, very popular franchise.
So I assume that you have played this game.
I did.
And do you, from playing the game, when did you first play it, or do you remember, or where
it was? In the 90s. Like, so the first game was an arcade game, and I think that was, as kids, where we got the differentiation in the first place between Street Fighter and Mortal Kombat, was going to the arcade to play on the boxes. But it eventually made its way to Super NES, and so that's where I learned to really get good at it. So I played the first Mortal Kombat that made it to Super NES. And I got it after I got Street Fighter. So it was like Street Fighter was my go-to game. And then when I got Mortal Kombat became my go-to game.
I'm pretty sure they had Mortal Kombat on the Mega Drive.
It did eventually hit pretty much all the consoles. But I think that didn't happen until closer to when the film came out. A lot of the other consoles, a lot of the other game versions came out around 94, 95. Did you ever play it?
I just looked it up. There was a Mega Drive version. And the only reason why I say that is because I'm pretty sure I played it on the Mega Drive. So we were a Sega household, never had a Nintendo. We started with the Mega Drive, Sega Saturn. No, we didn't have the Saturn. We had the Mega Drive for ages. Then we went to the Dreamcast before I eventually moved to PlayStation. But yeah, that Nintendo Switch behind me is the first time I've ever owned a Nintendo console. So I have played Mortal Kombat the game, and I do remember playing it in the 90s. I'm pretty sure, I don't know if we had it on the Mega Drive or whether we borrowed it or rented it a lot. I don't remember ever owning it. Did play it in the arcades as well. I did have, even back then I had a favorite character. I was quite taken back in the 90s, I think, by how brutal it was, like the whole finish him and then suddenly there's like
the fatalities. The oh my god, loved the fatalities.
Where they throw them up in the air and then they come down the ground and dead skeleton. And as the game has progressed, they got more.
Oh yeah, they're so violent now.
So I remember playing the first few. I don't remember specifically which ones. I remember Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter were the two big fighting games at the time. I think at the time I preferred the Street Fighter game, and then later on I preferred, especially the Street Fighter versus X-Men games that used to come out. Did you ever play those?
No.
I used to
Because
love,
like once Mortal Kombat hit my radar, I never went back to Street Fighter.
Well, I used to love things like Cyclops coming in and being able to fight Guile and stuff like that. I was like, this is cool. So, but I did play the Mortal Kombat games. I used to love them. My favorite character. There was a lot I liked, to be honest. I liked Scorpion and Sub-Zero, clearly. I loved Raiden. So I would say the three of those, but Sub-Zero would be like my go-to. I'd always go for Sub-Zero.
Rarely ever played as Sub-Zero.
I used to just love like his name, his outfit, and I don't know, the power of ice. I used to think it was like really cool. So I would go. But then if I didn't go for him, I would go for Raiden. I used to love his
spinny move.
sort of, well, his like monk type outfit and the fact that he would shoot lightning and stuff like that. Yeah, so those are my favorite. What did you have a favorite character from the?
My favorite.
I thought it would be Scorpion.
Because I loved the grabby thing, like shooting it out and grabbing people. Oh my God. My friends hated playing with me because I got so good at playing Scorpion, and they were like, can't you play anyone else? And I'm like, no. No.
That's like when I play Mario Kart, I always choose Link. And like my family are like, can you just choose someone else? Nope. I'm like, and they're like, yeah, but you don't always win with Link. I was like, yeah, but I like Link.
Yeah. This is my guy. Like, this is who I'm going with.
The last couple of times I have changed it up and played as Yoshi or something, but 95% I'll go with Link. So,
yeah.
I like I said, I've never owned it. I don't believe I've ever owned Mortal Kombat, but I've played it over the years, and I'd be open to playing it now. So
the new gen Mortal Kombats are ridiculously hard. It's just, I guess, like, because I didn't keep playing fighting games, so my, I don't know, hand-eye coordination is not on par, and like the new gen fighting games are just so fast. They move too fast for me. Maybe it's just like me in my old age, but like I cannot keep up with the new gen fight games anymore.
I just looked it up actually. So Mortal Kombat 11 is on sale. That must be the latest one on video games. And wow, the graphics are amazing.
Yeah,
I would be open to playing that and owning it. I think that would be quite cool.
If you had Xbox, they usually do like some version of Mortal Kombat on what do you call it? Game Pass. So if you had Game Pass, you could download it and then play against other people. But like I said, like I didn't keep up with fighting games, and I am no good now. Like I never get past anybody in a fighting game anymore.
I am unfortunately do not have an Xbox, so I have a PlayStation and a Switch.
They might have it in the PlayStation store too.
I just looked it up. They do have Mortal Kombat on the Switch, so I'm sure they have it on the PlayStation. But anyway, overall thoughts on this movie?
You go first. Come on, because like I said, if I need to find a new co-host, I need to know ahead of time.
So do you know what? When I watched this, do you know what? For ages I've said to you, I don't remember. I've never watched this movie, and when I watched this movie. When it ended, I was like, no, I actually have seen this movie. I remember now, I have seen it. But I just couldn't remember that I watched it. I must have watched it when it first came out. I don't remember going to the cinema to see it, so I must have watched it on television. But you know, the very bit at the end where the 4 or 5 of them, including Raiden, sort of do their parrying stance when that beast comes up. That specifically, I remember that scene. The moment it happened, I was like, oh, I remember this.
Well, it also is the opening scene to Annihilation.
Oh, okay. Well, I definitely don't think I've seen Annihilation. So, anyway, when that happened, I was like, no, I remember this. And there's a few bits through the movie were ringing a bell to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, God. I kept thought maybe I just walked in and out of somebody else watching it. And then when the end happened, I was like, no, I must have watched it. So, anyway, I put it on and I pressed play. And the moment I pressed play, like the new line or whatever it was, the logo is coming up on the screen, and obviously they shout out the words Mortal Kombat, and that EDM music kicks in. I was like, yeah, I quite like this. I'm not. Well, that's a pretty good start. I was pretty impressed. I thought that was pretty strong. I mean, nothing to do with the acting or lack of acting or plot line or anything like that. I was like, it's a pretty pretty bold start to a film. I love the fact that it was like Mortal Kombat, and then the music kicks in, which I can't even attempt to try and imitate like with my mouth. But I thought that was pretty cool. I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. My overall thoughts of this movie is this is a lot better than the last movie that we watched,
Yes.
Street Fighter. Street Fighter was just absolute mess. It was just there was no plot. There was just how can we throw in as many characters as possible whilst pandering to a drug addict's wishes, and so like it was just a chaos movie. And I was thinking about Street Fighter. The one good thing to come out of it was actually because I remember you said, "Oh, don't tell me last week. Don't tell me you wish it never been made." And I was reflecting on those words, and I thought, actually, no. Like I did say no, but I thought even more no. Yeah, to have a film where Kylie Minogue played a Street Fighter character, you can't say no to that. So, anyway, to come to this movie, whilst the plot and the acting is not the best, and the plot is quite thin, it did to me feel like there was a good attempt of a movie here. Like three sort of random heroes from Earth have to go to a weird realm to fight in a tournament to stop these weird creatures coming to Earth. We've seen very similar things over the years,
of
let's
course.
be honest. And I don't think any of them are particularly strong actors. I mean, Christopher Lambert's probably the strongest, but they're all fairly B-movie acting skills, if I'm honest. And the plot is again quite straightforward / weak. However, I didn't mind any of it. Like I was okay with a lot of the film. I did think to myself, whilst you could argue on one hand this hasn't aged well.
Now the graphics have definitely not aged well. I will give you that.
But I thought, like the acting is quite poor in parts and cheesy. However, I just thought this kind of film, you're not going to go into it looking for a Goodfellas or a Reservoir Dogs.
Of course not. It's not winning any awards.
It's not. It's not winning any awards. It's not. I don't know any of those. I don't know Oscar-style films. It's a Mortal Kombat movie. Mortal Kombat action, sort of kung fu, set in another realm, etc. So you've got to go into this knowing the type of movie you're going to watch. You would not get. Like my mum, if I put my mum in front of this, she would literally talk through the whole film and tell you how awful it is from the moment it started to the moment it finished. However, I sat down today, and to be fair to it, I wanted to watch the whole thing from start to finish, and I watched it all in one go. I mean, maybe I paused it for a second, but other than that, I literally watched it from start to finish. I said to my family, I want to watch this properly and give it time it deserves. And actually, I walked out of there actually enjoying it. And I think watching Street Fighter last week definitely helped. So
yes, because this is definitely a step up.
Oh yeah, this is so much better. And I think, like I said, the stories are, it's a nothing. It's three characters, three people come from Earth to find the realm, and there's no character development, etc. But it's fine. I don't think you really need any character development in this. Actually, a lot of the time when they're having I can understand that feedback from the test audiences about the lack of fighting, because I was into it much more when the fighting kicked in, especially with the EDM music kicking in. Yes. And every time that kicked in, to me, I was watching this thinking, this just feels like the adult version of Power Rangers. Like there's so much Power Rangerness about this. I got into it. I'll be honest. I was shocked myself because I've been saying to Jasmin for ages, I think this is going to be shit.
Yep.
And actually, I walked out there thinking, I didn't walk out there. I just watched it here. But when the movie ended, I was like, that was a lot better than I thought this was going to be when I went into it. And
okay, good news, guys. Mark can stay. Mark can stay as a co-host.
When I was watching it, the only thing I was sort of shocked about that Styles' dad was in it, and that was the only thing I texted you, because as the movie went on, I was like, no, do you know what? I like this. This is actually very Power Rangers. I know I keep saying that, but it is very Power Rangers. So I've been plot Power Rangers. The first one was. I mean,
I think that formula works.
Oh yeah. And I thought to myself, I'm definitely sure I saw this, but I don't remember. But I know I've seen it, but I can't really remember where or anything like that. But yeah, no, I enjoyed it. I specifically loved it when they especially the three of them, and they all start fighting together, and the EDM music's kicking in, and yeah, especially when the little chant kicks in, like Mortal Kombat or whatever, like. I was like, this literally could be replaced with the words Power Rangers or something like that, and I was just into it. Yeah, I thought this, but they can't act for for money really. They are getting paid, but their acting is all atrocious. However, their cheesiness was fine, and yeah, they should have probably had even more fights, if I'm honest. So, and they should have made more use of that music, because I thought when the music and the fighting was going on, I was like, yeah, this is cool. Like, don't get me wrong, I didn't mind the scenes in between, but yeah.
I am shocked. I really have been dreading recording this podcast, because in my head, I swear, I was like,
I'm gonna flip. Like,
I was like, I don't know how I'm gonna be friends with Mark after this.
I'm gonna flip tables and I'm gonna be like booking my ticket to England. I've got Lucille ready to go. Like,
oh my god. So I'm
gonna show him my Sonic Boom. Like,
I am very happy. Like, you've made me very happy. I'm happy that you didn't think that it was absolute garbage.
See, that's the thing. I gave it more. I've given it higher praise so far than you gave Masters of the Universe.
Yes, well, Masters of the Universe was terrible. But it also seems like you have given this one a higher praise than you gave the remake or the.
Do you know what? Actually, do you know what? The remake, I remember crapping all over that, and it's made me reconsider watching that. Actually,
I'm fine with that.
Well, we wouldn't review it again, but it'd be pointless to do another episode. But anyway.
So my thoughts on this movie. This movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. It definitely is in my top 5, if not my number 2. That's how much I love this movie. So my introduction to this movie was back in 95. And like I said, me and my friends played the games. We loved the games. And after Street Fighter, we were all so looking forward to this movie. And I think we got everything we wanted. Like, this movie really focused on fights. Like, it really focused on those one-on-one battles with people. And I think, honestly, it's a fighting game. Like, that's what you play it for. You play these kinds of games because you like those one-on-one battles. And I think that's what this film does so much better than Street Fighter, where it's like, it's a fighting game and you actually get the fights in the movie. And they're satisfying fights. They're satisfying because like the actors that are doing the work are actually martial artists. So I loved this film in 95. This film, I remember distinctly wearing out 2 VHS tapes. And then but I was telling Mark, I was like, so when I rewatched it again for this podcast, like I quoted the movie the entire way through. Like, I really feel that there 2 movies, I feel like 3 movies I feel like I can do this with, where if you push play, I could talk my way through the entire film, and Mortal Kombat is definitely one of those movies. So I still love it. I still remember everything. I love the fight sequences. And and watching it now, like, honestly, it really is the CGI that gives it away, and the hairstyles. But other than that, like, I don't know. This movie is still really great to me. I still enjoy it just as much now as I did in 95.
So there's a lot of characters in here. However, the one thing this movie did differently to the previous film that we watched, Street Fighter, was that Street Fighter rammed every single person they could think of into the movie. Now, I don't know, because I'm not as big a Mortal Kombat fan as you, I don't know if everybody was in this film, but at least didn't feel over rammed. Like, there were certain characters that got no development or very minimal screen time. So there's no development of Scorpion or Sub-Zero and stuff like that. And I don't, you didn't need it. So.
In 95, you did need it. You didn't care.
No.
You just wanted to see them fight.
But did you have a favorite?
In this film, my favorite character was Shang Tsung.
Yeah, I can see, like, it was between him and was it 4 or 5 leads really? So my favorite actor or character was Johnny Cage.
Of course.
Lyndon Ashby stepping it up from Teen Wolf. So I know he did this before, and I was so shocked to see like this skinny kind of. You could see he was trying to be a bit like, I don't know, like a bit like Van Damme, I guess. He was trying to be not as cool as Van Damme, but he was trying to. You could see Lyndon Ashby really thought he was going to be. Unfortunately, didn't, but like some sort of Brad Pitt-esque person. But I thought he had a lot of charm. And it made me realize he just can't act because he's playing the same character he played in Teen Wolf.
I mean, yeah. But like that was the whole point of Johnny Cage too. Like he was just this over-the-top cheese ball.
Yeah, no, but I liked it all. I liked that he was the cheese ball, and I love the fact that he is a fighter and actually a team player. And yeah, I liked him. I liked the fact he was the one who was kind of like the Peter Parker, the wit and the humor, and I thought he handled it well. I liked it. Nothing more to say really. I mean, we don't know any more or less about Johnny Cage than before the film started or finished. And
that's okay though.
no, it's fine. There's not really a lot I can say about him, but I just I liked seeing him on the screen. I thought he was good.
Yeah, and I picked Shang Tsung, Cary Hiroyuki. Like full disclosure, like I had the biggest crush on him when I was a kid. Huge, like it was a huge crush. But I've always liked villains, and I thought he did his villain so well. Like his delivery of lines, he was really menacing. Everybody was afraid of him, but he carried like such presence when he was on screen. So he was definitely my favorite throughout the movie.
So structure of the film, I feel, is really straightforward.
I mean, it follows the games pretty closely. It's like there's a tournament, the fate of the world is at stake. You have to win the tournament or Earth dies. It was very much like this over the top, way out there kind of thing.
This again, it's very Power Rangers. Like you can see Power Rangers was probably influenced by these style of games and stuff like that.
But if you think about it, like Power Rangers is based on all of those kung fu movies from the 70s.
Yeah,
like,
that's what. Yeah, but they're all intertwined, aren't they? Like Power Rangers probably is based on that, and it's probably based on things like this as well.
Yep.
They're never going to put their hands up and say, by the way, we watched Mortal Kombat 2 over the weekend. We've just sorted out the next 10 episodes of Power Rangers. There probably is versions of Raiden and all the rest of it.
Yeah.
Power Rangers. So, but I mean, Power Rangers literally ripped off itself, though. I mean, it was a copy from they edited parts from another.
Yep.
Was it in China or somewhere?
Japan.
Japan, yeah. So.
Yep.
I thought that the structure of the movie was actually really easy to follow, and I know it wasn't complex or complicated or anything like that. It was an easy story. It was an easy story told in actually an easy way. Like, and, I say that because I just remembered Robbie's joke about something like it's a straightforward story told in a complex way. This wasn't complex in any way, shape, or form. It was an easy story. Narrated.
Yeah, it's not complicated. It's
told in a
put the people
really
on the boat,
easy
put
way.
them in another dimension, they fight each other to the death. The end.
That's it. Yeah. Boom.
Yeah.
Done. I wrote that. I could write that script for them.
Yeah. But I think that is the people working on the film. To me, that means that they know their audience. Mm-hmm. They knew that this was based on a super, super popular fighting game. Like, no one gives a shit about the plot. Like, nobody is going to Mortal Kombat, like you said, expecting Goodfellas or anything on that caliber. Like, I'm going to go see a video game movie.
I think in the 90s, definitely in the 90s, that was not, people were not expecting to walk in and see, Raiden sitting, I don't know, or standing at the end of someone's grave and, then going on a vendetta and, you get to meet his childhood best friend.
That's not what this movie is for. That's not what this franchise is for. We're not interested.
No, definitely not.
We want to see fights. And I think like they did the fights well because we got subtle signature moves. We even got Scorpion's fatality where he like rips his face off and like burns the person that was my favorite fatality to perform. But like you get a lot of the video game elements in this film. And again, because they put their focus on stunt choreography, you actually get really great fights in this game.
I loved there's quite a few battles I loved, to be honest, but do you have it? Well, I love the Liu Kang. How do you say his name?
Shang Tsung.
Yeah. So I love that fight because I could see how well put together that was.
Mm-hmm.
The choreographer for that was just so good. The way I can't really describe it, but the way they're sort of their fists and their legs and their kicks, and I just thought, wow, man, those guys are flexible. It's like, damn. It's like,
Robin Shou did a lot of that choreography himself.
So I love that. I love that fight scene, but that wasn't my favorite fight scene. But like that, I loved how it was choreographed together and just it was good. Yeah.
Well, funny thing. So Paul W.S. Anderson also directed another one of my favorite movies, Event Horizon, which is phenomenal, one of the best horror movies ever. But this was the first time that Paul W.S. Anderson had directed anything that focused on fighting. And so like when they first started filming, again, because they have hired all of these actual martial artists, like when they filmed the first fight sequence, it was not going well at all. And so Robin Shou actually went to the director and was like, look, man, this is not working because you're using long shots. Like that doesn't work in a fight sequence because your actors are going to get too tired and they're never going to be able to make it through the entire sequence. So he actually gave the director some tips to make the filming of the fight sequences A, better for the audience, but also B, better for the actors to perform them. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
And I like the fact that you said that the test audience went back and said there's not enough fighting in here, because I still think there could have been more fighting from this.
Definitely. Because everybody really wanted to see Scorpion and Sub-Zero fight.
Oh, that would have been cool. Like they didn't though. But I just looked up. Paul W.S. Anderson, director, he did a lot of
Resident Evil,
Death Race, Alien vs Predator.
I like his style. I do, because I enjoy all of those films.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen Event Horizon, Soldier with Kurt Russell. All the Resident Evils, Death Race, he did. Some other films in there I haven't seen, but apparently he's got a project coming up, which I don't know what it is, Into the Lost Lands. Yeah, so during this movie, I think my favorite fight was actually at the end, which was Liu Kang versus Reptile, where they go to that other dimension, which is all end of the world, apocalyptic outworld. That's it. And he's fighting some weird little creature, throws it in someone's dead body, and then you see the dead body shift. And I was really thrown off. Like I thought, is that Sub-Zero? Because that looks like Sub-Zero, but he looks like he's green. So I had to look it up, I'll be honest. But I thought that was a really cool fight. I really enjoyed it.
I remember when we saw that in theaters, we were all like freaking out because Reptile is not in the first game. Reptile was a character from the second game. So then we all got super excited. We were like, oh my God, are they making a sequel? And then the sequel was absolute trash.
I think this game is mostly based off the second game.
Do what?
I think this film was mainly based off the second game, from what I read.
No, I thought Street Fighter was based off of Street Fighter 2. This one is pretty closely based off the first game.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that's something like this second one, but anyway. Any favorite fight scenes?
Let's see. I always go back and forth. Like, I really want to say my favorite fight scene is Johnny Cage and Scorpion. But I also, and like, it wasn't even a fight sequence, but like when we first meet Sub-Zero, and that one guy is like all of these moves and all of this stuff, and like Sub-Zero gets him in like one shot, and it's just like,
I love that. Yeah, I love
like that to me set the tone for the rest of the film. So I really love like Sub-Zero's introduction to everything, and just to show like how much of a badass he is.
You see so many people do that, like in movies, so they're like flexing their muscles, twisting it, on the spot, you're like one move.
It's one hit.
Yeah. Do you know what the other fight I loved was the three of them? So Johnny Cage and Sonya Blade and what's his name, Liu Kang. and the three of them are fighting all the random goons.
Oh, yeah.
And then Raiden steps in and goes, "Oh, well, all those guys." There's like
Yeah.
70, 100 of them.
Yeah.
I love that the three of them when it kicked in because the music kicked in as well.
Yep.
And for a split second, I thought this feels very Blade.
Yeah.
I know Blade came later, but this was very.
But there are a lot of very similar elements. I would agree. I also think like this movie, Mortal Kombat and Blade, are two of the films that helped push me into EDM the way that I am now. Like 20 years later, 30 years later, like I am still very into EDM. Like that's probably what I listen to more than anything else. But I definitely always give
soundtrack. Do you listen to the Mortal Kombat soundtrack?
I mean, I told you it's my ringtone. So like
I know, yeah, I know, but that's like if someone rings you. But do you ever like to put your headphones in your ears and just get your head down, listen to Mortal Kombat as you work?
No, you can't, because like when this soundtrack comes on, it's like it gets you hype. Like it's not the kind of soundtrack where you're like, I'm sitting on the couch reading a book. Like,
no, I mean like if you're at work, like put your headphones in your ears, or you're not allowed to do that.
oh, I mean, I could, but no, I usually listen to.
I've got this deadline to go. That's
I
it.
know.
Mortal Kombat time. Right. And like in the minute,
Do that next time I have a deadline. I'm going to do that. I'm going to put it on Mortal Kombat.
Jasmine, you've got to get this project in by close of business. No problem. Mortal Kombat. I will finish this.
Yes, exactly.
They were like, "What is going on over there?"
Oh man, hilarious! I do. I can't.
During the movie, like we've agreed, the plot is straightforward. It's not elaborate. It doesn't need to be elaborate.
But they don't make it complicated. Like with Street Fighter, it was like, oh, there's this country and there's a dictator and then like hostages, and it's like, this is not James Bond. Like no one cares.
Street Fighter was trying to be bigger and just it was unnecessary. They should have kept Street Fighter to what they kept Mortal Kombat, a fighting game.
It's a fighting game.
Film. Fighting film inspired by a fighting game.
And that was their mistake. Like Jean-Claude Van Damme was the only martial artist on set for Street Fighter, whereas with Mortal Kombat, literally everybody could fight.
Mm-hmm.
So
during this movie, which I believe you love thoroughly, however, is there anything you may have changed?
Okay, little things. Like at the very beginning, when they get to the tournament and they're all sitting around these giant tables having this feast, and then these goons come in and flip over the tables and they're just like stepping on all of this delicious looking food. I'm like, that's a fucking waste. It's such a waste of food. That's one thing that
especially right now, the cost of living. Anyway.
Exactly. So even as a kid though, that bothered me. I don't know, like I know it's silly, but like that always bothered me. I was like, I feel like there was a better way they all could have done this. Like this is just, it's such a waste. So that scene I never really liked. And I wish they had done something different with Goro. Now, what that is, I don't know, because I think it would have been, given the rest of the CGI in the film, I think it would have been a bad idea to do a CGI Goro. But like that animatronic thing was just laughable. Like he was not scary. Also, it has always bugged me ever since 1995. How is Goro this like big, gigantic, ridiculous monster with the most perfect teeth? His teeth are all straight. They are all bright white. And it's just like, bro, what kind of dental work do you get done in Outworld, dude? You look ridiculous. You look like you are just an animatronic chiclet thing.
Maybe he just goes back to Earth to get his teeth done. And then
apparently.
They're like, Goro's here again, too. Oh, no.
That guy.
That guy.
Yeah.
Tell him I want a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't care. He wants to see it.
So, though, like, literally, like, the two smallest details in the film, but, like, those have bugged me for years. Years, dude.
So, changing, editing, whatever, I'm actually all right with the whole thing. I don't see any need. No, probably the only thing I would do, if I'm honest, is probably put even more fight scenes in there than we already had. I think I'd like to see more of them fighting as a team. So,
okay.
That's cool. Yeah, there wasn't enough as a team.
Yeah.
And not knowing that Christopher Lambert had given a minimalist role, I think I'd like to see more him actually having fights. I think it would have been cool to have ended it with actually him being the final sort of boss, so to speak, fighting the bad guy. So the film ends with a cliffhanger. So who is it that shows up?
Who what now?
Who is it, the person who shows up at the end of the movie?
The Emperor from Outworld, which how did he get into the realm? Because they lost the tournament. So I never understood how he came to Earth anyway, even though he lost the tournament. Like, you can't take over this dimension. You lost. You're already cheating your own rules of Mortal Kombat.
I guess maybe that'll be explored in the sequel. But so it ends with them all kind of Power Ranging it at the end. You know, you expect the Morphers to come out. Yeah, you expect the Morphers to come out. They're all into their formation and they're ready to go. And I thought that was cool. And then yeah, so I thought, I don't think there's anything I'd change. I thought the end credits, the end moment was a pretty cool cliffhanger.
Yeah.
It's disappointing to know that the second one wasn't as well received. And also, other than about 2 of them, most of them have been recast. So,
yeah.
The sequel. So,
moment of truth. Here we go. How do you rate it, Mark?
What I was going to say, what would you rate it?
No, absolutely not. You first.
I assume it's 5. Oh, do you know what? I was thinking about it. Okay, look, I don't think it's a brilliant film. I don't think, I don't think it's awful either. I don't think it's massively awful at all. And I was trying to think, like, I don't remember any thoughts or feelings I had from when I first watched it, which I've got to assume was the 90s or early 2000s or something. Sort of in my mind, I've been around 3 mark, if I'm honest. So I don't.
That's higher than you rated Street Fighter, so I'll take it.
Well, Street Fighter was garbage. Like this actually isn't a bad film. Like I don't know. I'll tell you what. Actually, I'm going to give it 3.5. Like I'm not. Like I'm not. I don't actually think it was that bad. I think it was an okay. For me, it was a good translation between a game, which is a fighting game, and fighting games don't really have story.
Right.
But I mean,
exactly.
they tried to throw a little bit. There'd always be a weird video at the beginning, but then ultimately, it's a fighting game. And for me, we're reviewing adapted content. They've adapted a fighting game into a fighting video game.
Yes.
They've deliberately kept the plot simple.
Yes.
And for people that are massive fans of the fighting game, they haven't gone there to watch Tom Cruise try and win the love of Sonya Blade, like in the middle of a battlefield. They've gone there to see 8, 10, 12, whatever it is, fight each other to the death and to win a tournament. And whilst, yes, okay, they probably all of them wouldn't mind a little bit of humor or character development, none of the people that went to watch this that earned 120 million or whatever were sitting there going, you know what, I really wish Sonya and Johnny Cage had kissed at the end.
Yeah. I really wish I knew Sub-Zero's backstory. Nobody cares.
No one cares.
No offense, but no one cares.
I think they did a really good job in actually bringing a fighting game to life and as a fighting film and putting a very simplistic plot around how do we make all these actors fight each other.
Yeah.
I know. Earth's in trouble. It's been done loads of times. Great.
Yeah.
Get rid of that. And we've seen, to be honest, whilst we've been doing this podcast, how many films have we seen or TV series we've seen where Earth's in trouble with there's some alien or cosmic something?
They're not reinventing the wheel at all.
They're reinventing the wheel, but actually, and that's actually fine.
Yes.
Like you've got Street Fighter last week, fighting game. We're going to make a whole political drama, war movie, whatever, and there's going to be some currency that we've made up, and blah blah blah. And it's somehow we're going to have a bit of street fighting going on, but it's going to be a political action film. What? This film, we're going to have you lot all fight each other to the death.
Yeah. It's a death match. That's what this film is. It's we're taking you to an island. You can't get out. You fight or die. Any questions?
Yeah, and you know the graphics are crap, but it was 1995.
Yeah,
graphics were all rubbish.
And their entire budget was only 20 million. I think they used it to great effect. Honestly.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. They did really well in terms of the budget. And the CGI, I would say, is the only thing that really let it down. The CGI was fairly crap, and the Scorpion fight, where the CGI is just awful. When he moves out of the way when it goes past him, I was thinking to myself, I wonder if they just said, "Oh, it's going to come past your head now." Just turn, you know, like they probably didn't even have like I don't know. I know nowadays they have like a stick with a tennis ball at the end or something to like to guide the actors to where stuff will be. I can imagine they didn't bother, right? But anyway, I'm assuming I'm gonna make a guess. 5 out of 5 when you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. No question, no hesitation. 5 out of 5. My opinion of this film has not changed from 1995. So, but I am super excited because I was definitely not expecting 3.5 to me is above average. So I'll take that coming from you because I really thought you were going to give this one a 1 like you gave the other film.
Oh, Street Fighter, I gave it 1.5, I think.
No, how you gave the first Mortal Kombat a 1. I mean, the reboot that we watched.
Do you know, honestly, watching this though, I mean, I can't really remember that one now. It was 2 years ago, but I really did enjoy this film a lot more than I even expected to. And I thought I started thinking stuff. Maybe I should rewatch that last film. Now, I'm not saying it's going to suddenly.
It doesn't have the same charm though as this one. I think it falls into that Street Fighter trap where it tries to add too much plot, and it's like no one cares. I am not going to Mortal Kombat looking for a story. I'm going to Mortal Kombat because I want to see fatalities. I want to see people like get the crap beat out of them. Like I want to see people fighting. That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I will rewatch it. I think not today. Or I'm going to spend a minute, but I'm not going to watch it over this weekend. But I might fit it in to my viewing. So
I am definitely watching Mortal Kombat again when we get off of this recording.
Oh, what this film we were talking about? Or
yes.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow. Right, okay. So we're going to bring our review to a close. I think Jasmine's fairly shocked.
I am shocked. Honestly, I am very shocked. I was very prepared. We are part of a group chat with the Bad Batch. I was prepared after this.
Throw me under a bus, weren't you?
Yeah.
Like,
I was going to be like, listen, I got an opening, guys. I need a co-host. Anybody, any takers?
I'm going to change the passwords and lock Mark out.
Yeah.
Geeks Unleashed. Fable, can you kick Mark out of the group? Yeah, they throw me under the bus every now and anyway. I think mainly just abuse me because I'm English.
Yeah.
You should see our group chat. I get crap for being English a lot. So they're like, "What food is this?" So,
yes. Yes, the beans on toast conversation.
The staples of an English man. So anyway, so our next episode, we're not even going to tell you what we're going to do. This is going to be episode 150. You can come back next week and find out what on earth is going on. 150 episodes.
Yeah. You got to come back and find out for yourself.
So you can follow Geeks Unleashed everywhere. We are on Elon Musk's X. We are on Instagram with the other guy and Facebook with the other guy. And they want to know everything about you. And you can find out everything about us if you follow us on those.
Yes, that is the trade-off, unfortunately. And you can also get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts, Google, Podbean, Apple, Spotify. We are everywhere. So please leave us a 5-star review and tell your geeky friends.
Fatality.
Good journey.